Hello everyone and welcome back to Sample Sunday via Whisky Wednesday, and guess who's got COVID? Me. 2 years avoiding the stuff, and then it finally gets me like 4 days before my birthday. Devastated. But luckily I can still smell and taste stuff, typically just a bit phlegmy and a bit sore. But nonetheless, we are here to do the final review in the Plantation series, which is the Plantation XO. Now, I have tried this one before. It follows the usual criteria of most of the other Plantation bottles. It's a 40-ish% ABV product, matured in the Barbados and sometimes a few other regions, and then finished in cognac barrels in the south of France. So, pretty typical style. This is bottled to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Plantation rum, and it does say it in very small print just there. But just a really well put together style. I assume it's with the 3-star as well. I assume this rum is probably the most well known of all of the Plantation style. The full size bottle it comes in is this big chunky thing with like palm leaf kind of wrapped around it. Looks incredible. But here we are, just in the glass. Let me move out of the way there so you can get some colour. Pretty short video this one because it is the last in the range. Favourites of the range so far are still the 3-star and the Gran Anejo, which was the Belizean and Guatemalan rum put together. Those were delicious. But yes, let's smell, let's taste, let's finish off this Plantation series. Ooh. So since having a positive test, I haven't really touched alcohol. I'm on day 2 at the minute, so that might not seem like a long time. But typically I like to taste some of these products in advance, just a tiny bit, just to know what I'm talking about. But the nose on this is very delicate. I will say for 40% alcohol, it's a little sharp. But there are these really, really pleasant old leather, kind of banana notes in it. A typical portion of like caramel and toffee. And lingering in the back, which is something which does become more pronounced the longer it's open, is a nice bit of cinnamon. I'm not a huge fan of cinnamon as a product, but in certain whiskies and rums and things like that, it does work quite well. And it is lingering in the background here. But on the nose, that it has this older smell, which I've not particularly nosed it before. Maybe that's due to my current circumstances, don't know. But you will notice the use of XO on the label. Not a very typical term when it comes to rum, even with certain French influences. Couldn't find too much information about the age range on this product. If we follow the rules of cognac, when they bottle XO, we're looking at something that's typically 15 years or above. The full-size bottle of this rum is typically around sort of £60, and that's like in a gift set as well, so I could believe there's some 15-year-old stock kicking around in there. Maybe not a lot, but certainly some, but it does give off a smell which is reminiscent of older spirit, certainly older than 15. And that banana thing is developing quite nicely too. It's almost like a banana fritter. It feels like warm and a bit kind of sticky. Let's taste. That is quite Moorish. Every time I kind of use my tongue to move it around my mouth, kept finding something new, kept kind of wanting to hold that on my palate a bit longer. We will do, but let's talk about the initial taste. Obviously it arrives quite sweet. Again, unsure of the origins of the products within it. On the front of this bottle in particular, it does just say product of Barbados, just along the bottom. That doesn't necessarily mean that all the stock was originally from Barbados, but I will assume that it is, because it has the approach of a Bajan rum. soft red apple, quite sweet, and it leads with this very, very indulgent, welcoming, caramelly, slightly cinnamon note. There are a couple of off notes that run through it, and I don't mean off as in they're bad, but there are a couple of unexpected notes. Some of them a little bit youthful, almost that fun young rum agave like thing that can come through. Some quite dry, only like one or two just on this side of my mouth, but kind of quite sharp, dry barrel notes. Nice oak style. The finish, as I talk to you right now, is how the product started. It's caramel and cinnamon. It's not sickly. It's quite welcoming. It's quite coating. It's quite relaxing, in all honesty. You can see why most people would just fall back into a chair with a glass of this stuff. But let's try it again. Yeah, the banana thing's gone. And there are those kind of green oaky notes again, just at the end, just before the caramel and the cinnamon comes back around. I can see why people really like this. It's a very easy drinking rum with a couple of unusual surprises, both on the nose and on the taste. Not an expert on rum prices, so I suppose if you were to give me £60 in the UK and were to say, go and buy a bottle of rum, I would definitely look at this. But I would be intrigued to know what you would all kind of put below. Obviously, there are some. There are some Foursquare bottlings that you can get for £60ish. I know some of the Dawley's releases from them can go from about 40 to about 60. So I think that would be on a lot of people's lists. Hampton, I suppose you can get a good bottle of Hampton rum for about £60, which is a lot more unusual. Not as delicate as this, a lot funkier, a lot more intense. But I suppose it's what you're after. But I think this is a perfectly good rum. I think it's quite good for the money. If you knew a rum drinker and you wanted to get them something nice, by all means Google the full-size bottle of this, because it does look quite appealing to the eye. Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it would be interesting to try other rums at £60 around it. And maybe some which have just stayed in terms of maturation within their country of origins. I like the cognac thing. It adds a different point of interest. But I don't know how much it's taking away from the original terroir, I suppose you could say, of the product. But yeah, thank you all for watching. That's the end of the Plantation series. We will be back next week with some very fun stuff. We've got those Foursquare samples, so keep an eye out for those. I've got a couple of days off now. Sorry about that, due to this. So we should be able to get everything filmed hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday, and Wednesday and Sunday everything should be out on time. But yes, do keep an eye out. Thank you all for watching this. It's quite a good sort of starter series for Sample Sunday, and we'll see you all next week. Cheers.